Okay, addressing the damage to the front end of this Jeep. So there you can see it. We're gonna go from this to this. All under $40. Essentially all you're gonna need is some paint and some filler. So this is how it happened. Yeah, I wasn't even moving and got reversed into. This particular dash cam is designed for super cold temperatures, costs about $100, but is trusty and reliable, especially for moments like these in the cold winters. So we'll complete the job outside in the winter with everything frozen over. I'll then show you after 2 years how the job stood up the test of time. There's no special prep, tools, everything you'll need will be in your garage, and the job will just take a few hours of work without advanced skills. You can see it's quite rough. We'll start with removing all the loose pieces before eventually getting to sanding. You can see that the bond is failed. These parts that we pulled off, and then we'll sand it down before we get to filler and then paint. So the sanding starts with 60 grit, which is what you see here. You can see some underlying body filler, which is the gray pink material. This must be from some previous work. This Jeep is 23 years old and I've owned it for 20 of those years, so it must have happened before that. Don't be afraid, as you can see, to sand outside of the damaged area. Take your time with the sanding, and we'll paint and clear coat everything after giving that professional look. Okay, so a quick cleanup of the area. I'm using 70% IPA or rubbing alcohol here, and then moving on to the body filler preparation. These are the tools that will be used. What I am using is Bondo brand. This is the #2 formulation. It comes with this cream hardener. I'll be working on just some parchment paper, some wax paper, and take a moment here just to mix up the contents, and we'll do the same thing for the hardener, just massaging the tube to get it all mixed up together. So this one container, it's enough to do 3 or 4 jobs, so take care to maintain its integrity. The pile you'll pull out should be target about approximately 1/2 inch. Then what we'll do next is squeeze out a single bead of the cream hardener across the diameter of the pile. Then take your putty knife and mix it all together. Okay, all done. You can see the texture if I zoom in a bit, and the coloration. Then off to the application. So go ahead, be generous, build out the filler, and do not overthink this process. Simply just follow the general contours of the vehicle and remember to over apply. Take your time. The filler sets up in 10 minutes or so you have plenty of time there. You're looking at 45 minutes to cure, and that's curing, ready for paint essentially. So 45 minutes. What we're doing here is all done in the same day. Okay, all done, dried. See how rough the job looks, but don't worry. Next is a sanding exercise. So what you see here is 60 grit, and eventual progression from 60 to 80, then 120 would take you to the final, which would be this. Yeah, the closer I zoom in, the rougher the detail looks. You'll inevitably encounter pitting, but that'll be addressed in one of the following steps. It's not perfect, but you don't need perfection at this moment. So next, what you see I'm doing here is blending out the transition area. This is the area, it's all going to be primed, painted, then clear coated. The score marks from this process will aid with the paint adhering better to the body. So this is 120 grit, and I'm applying medium pressure. Those inevitable pits, scratches, rough detail, that's addressed with this glazing putty. It's the same Bondo brands. This stuff, it's very fine. It's able to get into the small crevices, yet it's not very hard. It's definitely not structural. It's used for surface smoothing. The painting process will seal it in and protect it. Again, be generous as the excess is all sanded away. It takes about 30 minutes for this application to dry. And you can see how easy this material sands. It doesn't clog or fill the sandpaper, which is great. It's essentially a 2-minute sanding job. Okay, so to painting. First, we'll start with primer. This is an Automotive primer. I've stored it at room temperature. There's no special preparation, no heating of the vehicle body panels or the contents of the can. Preparation is simple, just cleaning with alcohol. So as you can see, the primer is being applied here to the panels, which are cold. They're 11 degrees Celsius, 50 Fahrenheit. So the first application is dripping as the primer attempts to adhere to this. The old clear coat, which is also quite cold. So you can improve on this step by heating the panels of the vehicle and applying less primer per application. But really, it's not that big a deal, as we'll be standing in the next step. It's actually quite incredible how forgiving this process can be, as you'll see from the final result. The objective really is to just coat the body filler with enough primer and fade that out to the perimeter areas. Okay, next off to some quick sanding before we move on to painting with the color. This is 600 grits. It's Automotive sandpaper. You could probably get away with 400 or even going up to 800 or 1000 here, but 600 is pretty good, right in the middle. This here is the OEM spray paint can, which I just picked up from the dealership. This can also, there's no prep for it. It's not heated. It's just regular room temperature. I'll do about 3 coats of this material with the first application being less and increasing as we progress. Alright, let's take a look at the progress. This is the full bumper. The next coating steps I'm conducting on the full bumper as there's some sun damage and the clear coat, which it can be easily addressed now. So zooming in on the repair side, you can see it's consistent. We have even spread. However, you'll notice there's a lack of sheen compared to this other side. This is expected, and what we're going to do is address that now with the protective clear coat layer. So this is the clear coat. The can I've submersed in regular household hot water. Heating this material will give improved atomization of the spray pattern, improving the application. So, well, if you think about it, we're applying this finish, which is at 45 degrees Celsius, over 100 Fahrenheit, to a panel which is around 11 Celsius, or just about 50 Fahrenheit. Next is the sanding process, the wet sanding. So 1500 grit on soapy water, then to 3000 grit, followed by polishing, and we're done. At that point, I'll then show you the final result and then what it looks like after 2 years to show you how this actually works even in the cold winter. All done. There you have it. No discernible difference across the panel or bumper. Stock side over to the repair side. This project was completed with under $50. No special tools or skills. Now, forward 2 years later, and here we go. No chipping, peeling, discoloration. Thanks for watching, and good luck.